Hi, I'm State Representative Steve McClary. I'm from Sisseton, and I'm here to discuss some of the issues that we think we also agree on and that we need to participate in today on some of the discussion. I can take Sisseton, or I can take the whole district as far as that goes. We really need to take a look at this from a 10,000 foot level. What we're dealing with here is something that's unprecedented, that we've probably never seen before, and it catches everybody a little bit off guard. We've got elders in nursing homes and assisted livings. We have Native Americans that are 3 times susceptible to this thing, and you've got even myself. I have COPD, kind of a 3rd level instead of all the way full force 5. So I'm susceptible. I need to be really, really careful, and that's what this is about. My precautions are from people that we're really not paying attention to what this can do to a community, and it's not just here in Sisseton. It's in Webster, Britton, Webster, Frederick. What are children hearing? The children are going to school. What are they hearing? What do they deal with? And then they try and come home. Maybe in some cases the parents never leave home. And in some instances, we have to have school at home virtually. So how does that affect our community? Is every teacher able to teach those kids virtually from home? Because not everybody wears a mask. And that's a big issue to me, is that the communities that I serve, not everybody wears a mask. And I think the importance of hand sanitizing, masks, and in some cases even gloves, to keep this virus and the bacteria down. That's what we're talking about here. And I'll give credit to the tribe stepping forward and having 2 full-time community meetings now of where are we at, how do we get the communities together? Not just Sisseton, because you need to realize it's maybe New Effington, Clara City, Peaver, Wilmot, because of if we have a mask mandate, which is a little difficult to do. But if we were to have that in Sisseton, how does that affect everyone else? There was a number of individuals that were very cautious. We wore masks, we sanitized. In the Capitol, they had different stations for sanitation. But we had some of those that absolutely refused to wear a mask in the whole context of a special session where we were all going to come together from different parts of the state and try and settle the issue of what do we do with $1.2 billion of money. And it's going to be in grant money, it's going to be in loans, that type of thing. That's what we decided that day. In my opinion, we didn't accomplish probably quite as much as we could have, mainly because when the discussion came in State Affairs, which I'm a part of that committee, we got somewhat shut down. We did hear one amendment that would improve the testing, more uniforms, more masks, everything that goes along with that. We did have that discussion for about 40 or 45 minutes. And when that came to a vote, that got shut down because we wanted probably $30 or $40 million for that. We had a few other amendments, that dealt with a number of things of where we thought as Democrats, where that money should go. And even some moderate, people of the other party. Let's let the people have that choice of where they wanted that money to go. One of the representatives said, I call a question. Well, when you call a question, all conversation ends. There's no more amendments, there's no more voting, and then you come to the base question of, do we want to agree or disagree with the governor on how she was going to use that money? And if I remember right, there was about 15 or 18 of us that voted against that proposal of hers, mainly because we did not get to open up that conversation for everybody in the state to see where that money goes. That's the gist of it right there, of really what happened. There was very good discussion. I think there was people on both sides of the fence. We had lobbyists that came and spoke to us on different entities, so that was good. Was it a waste of time? No. But I think we could have progressed a lot farther than what we did as far as where does that money go. Those challenges and regulations have changed. So because at a point about 8 or 9, 10 days ago, there was only about 10% of that money that was going to get spent and dealt out of that last remaining funding. So that's disheartening. So they did raise from 100,000 to 500,000 if you're going to get a loan or possibly a grant of that sort. Your losses on a business, they wanted something around that 25%. They lowered that down to 15%. So now that opens up a door for maybe a little bit more funding, whether it's grants or loans, and very low interest rate loans. That we did accomplish, here in the last week or 10 days, but it's too bad. I think, in my personal opinion, what I've seen, school systems will benefit fairly well. I think there was $75 million, I think, and there might be a little bit more coming there. But keep in mind, that's not every school system. That's a public school system. That's a private school system. I feel, in my opinion, the tribal schools got left out. Nursing homes got $100 million spread out throughout, and that's huge because they were really fighting a fight there, and it's hard to find employment anyway to take care of the elderly. Hospitals and clinics, we've all those across the state, and especially in this district, accomplished very well. There are some small businesses, I feel, that will be able to, I think, take advantage of the programs, but there again, you have to get that application in, and unfortunately that ends now on the 30th of October. And all these funds have to be used technically by the end of the year. Now I have heard in a lame duck session, Congress may want to extend that into 2021. So that would be great, because we're just not seeing applications come in as highly, I think, as fast as we wanted to, and there's just too many precautionary measures set in there, or regulations set in there, that we're not going to get as much money out to people that we really wanted to get it out to. And we don't want to send that money back to the government, and that's what's going to happen, unfortunately. Businesses, not only in this community, but in the communities around my districts, tribal entities, they're suffering, just as senior citizens, nursing homes, hospitals, clinics. We're all in this ballpark together, and it's unfortunate, in my opinion, because I traveled this district. I took a whole month and traveled. Every week I tried to go somewhere, whether it was a school board meeting or a county commission meeting, hospital, clinic. What do you need? Where do we go? Where can you use the money? So that's the gist of what happened out there in Pierre. Is what we've got here. We're going to see a whole new shift in leadership nationally. I think there's going to be a lot of extensions on funding that's happened because of this. I think we're going to see another COVID payment coming out. Unfortunately, they did not get that done before they left Washington here the other day. I think we're going to see that because of the necessity. And if you just look at the numbers throughout the country, they're accelerating at a very, very high rate. Even worse than what they were this spring. That's unfortunate. That's very dangerous and detrimental to the communities and to society as a whole. So I think something else is going to have to be done. I think what I hope to see is more of a communication gap brought closer together. I mean, I can see myself, I live in the country, our farm, I've got cattle. When I come to town, and this attributes to those that are listening, this attributes to tribal members of what you're doing out there. I drive on 8th Avenue or on the 4-lane, I see a lot of Native Americans masked up driving in their vehicles. I don't see that with white individuals, other than myself and a few others. That's unfortunate. That needs to happen, number one, before we get into another administration. Try and work with your communities, try and work with your businesses. If you've got a food supply business, I mean, there's takeouts. That's still, you go to Dairy Queen or Taco John's, it's strictly takeout. I got to give them credit, because I don't think that hurt their business very much, but that reduces that inhibition of that virus spreading. I mean, what do? I mean, you got Halloween coming when the kids love to go out and get candy. You've got Thanksgiving coming with Christmas and families. We really need to be careful in that next 2 months or 2.5 months of how we take this personally, and how do we have that respect and responsibility for each other. Where are we going? What are we going to do with this? I mean, that's my first intake, Allison, of, what are we going to do as communities? That's when we got to step up. I really disagree with the path that the state or the governor is taking and putting that pressure on the mayors of each town, the county commissioners of each county, leaving that in their hands of deciding what to do. There's no way in my mind that ever should have happened, because now they're on the gate and the responsibility is theirs, and now they're to blame. That's not how this works. That should come from the state level. That's part of my job, and I've done that. I've tried to refer to the state officials that you need to do this, but unfortunately it's maybe a little more on deaf ears at this point, but that's too bad. I mentioned here, this causes a great drain mentally. So keep in contact with your friends, your close friends and your family. We've had suicide issues here, in this district and in this community before. I think pay attention to who you're talking to, what they're saying. That's just another thing that we don't need something else happening. We're losing people as it is, and we don't need another funeral that individuals can't go to. So don't be afraid to call a healthcare service. Don't be afraid to call for, whether it's a food service that you need some food, call a church, food pantry if you need food. If you need somebody to pick you up and give you a ride to a clinic or to an office call of some sort, let them know maybe you're quarantined or I'm worried, I've got a family member. Make that call. Mask up, take your hand sanitizer with you, wash, keep clean. Even if you got gloves or mittens on, use that there too. Every little thing, your doorknobs, your shifter on your car, everything you can do there when you go. Trust in yourself and your faith, protect your family. If you're a Christian as I am, whatever church you go to, participate in prayer. I think that's where we need to come from. Call your neighbors, call your family and your friends, and take care of yourselves and be safe and have faith. We will get through this.